And people go, oh, that's Bannon. He's crazy. They don't, they're not. Okay. Tom Friedman talks about it. They all talk about it. They can make dramatic change on climate change and on racism, systematic racism, all these things that they want to get to. They think so evil in the Judeo-Christian West, right? It's so evil. That's why the diaspora of China, people leaving that system, are coming to the Judeo-Christian West, right? Where they see freedom and they want to export that back to mainland China and take down the CCP. Price is a capitalist. He's an entrepreneur. And he walks through pretty systematically, like 10 or 12 tweets, what the finesse is. It's the finesse. This is not a conspiracy. There is no conspiracy here. This is up in your grill. With the Great Reset, right? Liz Yor walked through it the other day. We're going to go more into this to make sure that we can pull the camera back and that you can frame this. You can come to your own conclusions. But there's no conspiracy. This is the party of Davos. This is Klaus Schwab walks through this. This is how the system works. This is the world's economic system. This is why this fetish of the post-war rules-based international order. That was just a system that was gamed by a state capitalist totalitarian dictatorship in Beijing, who are, one thing you got to understand about why I call them an existential threat, this is not the Soviets with an economy that was size of California that Reagan goes, why are Kissinger and these guys? I understand they got nuclear weapons all over the place, but it's the economy that's going to collapse, right? Why am I believing Alison Graham and Henry Kissinger? They're the rising power. How about this? We win, they lose. They're an evil empire. 8 years later, even when he said that, the CIA goes, 50 years, we'll do it. No, 7, 8 years later, Berlin Wall down, freedom back, right? That's the system we're in now. Is that different than the Nazis, different than the fascists, different than the military junta in Japan, different than the Soviets? Beijing, the rulers in Beijing, and that's why we said, and this is why we did the live broadcast together on election night. This is why the New York Times has this, I think it's a front page story, it's 3,000 words on Miles Guo and Steve Bannon. The merger, this is what they're signaling, the merger of the vast right-wing media apparatus with the diaspora, the anti-CCP Chinese. Dr. Yan's remember, she's just the vehicle so they can tell the story. She's just the instrument they use to tell the story of what they think the story is. Why do we say, and it's resonates so much with the Chinese people, why do they say it's the most important election in the history of the United States, so says the flag officers that signed the letter to President Trump. But this is the most important election in 5,000, 8,000 years of Chinese history. Because there's two diametrically opposed systems here. One is the nation state and the sovereignty of the American people in our beloved country, right? In a system of nation states. Or you're going to have the network effect of the globalist system, right? As personified by Davos and the World Economic Forum. And the center beating heart of that economic engine is the slave labor of the Chinese people. That's what we're fighting for. Why has the New York Times got this story today? You know what they fear? Here's what they fear. Don't fear Jack Maxey or Vish Burr or Steve Bannon or Raheem Kassam or Sidney Powell, the people we get on here. Our next desk got Dr. Thayer and Jason Trennard, but no, they fear you. They fear what their greatest fear in life is a partnership between the deplorables and Lao Baixing, old 100 names, right? With the Gilets Jaunes and the folks in India and the guys in Australia and the men and women in Japan, the people that want to stand up for their individual freedom and are prepared to back politicians and leaders that have countries that believe in their sovereignty. This global movement is a patriot movement. It's for patriots from Brazil to sub-Saharan Africa, to the Middle East, to the United States of America, to mainland China. That's what they fear. And we're not going to back down 1 inch. That's why this election. And why do we have an international audience that comes in and wants to know the details on the commission meeting in Madison, Wisconsin that takes 5 hours? And why do we have massive traffic for what's going on in a recount in Georgia? Or now with 2 congressmen flying up to see the Navajo Nation up in Four Corners in Arizona. Why is global? Because they understand the importance of this election. That this is what stands between them and the Great Reset. Right? So we're not going to back off. Not 1 inch. And that's why earlier in the show, I'm jumping on you guys. It's the signal, not the noise. You're not in a high school cafeteria. And I'll let it go after this. Okay? Because I know that you're signal hunters. Right? Okay, we're going to have some more analysis in the numbers with Raheem. We're also going to get Matt Brainerd and other guys on in the evening show. Make sure our evening show is 5 to 7. We cover it. We get fabulous guests. Do a lot of analytics on the evening show. Wrap up what's going on. So we drive the news cycle in the morning, and then hopefully we drive the news cycle late in the afternoon, encapsulated right after the National Pulse with Raheem Kassam. Before I get Dr. Bradley Thayer on here. And I want to thank Jason Trenner. We ran over the last time. We're so jammed for time. But Jason Trenner talked about some of your favorite topics here. And Jason Trenner's a numbers guy. And we're going to get that National Bureau. He had told me about that economics, which really the National Bureau. They're just hobbits over in the bowels of the government, but they're doing numbers all the time. And they came with a report. You don't see Fauci talking about that. Where was that at the task force yesterday? Where is that at the CDC? Vice President Pence. Hello, note to self. Where's the National Bureau of Economic thing that said that, hey, none of these things are working. There's no difference between the hardest lockdown in the world and the guys in Sweden who walk around with their shirts off. Hey, give me herd. I want the herd. I want the herd immunity. No difference. But here's what we got. Here's what we got, Vice President Pence. We got CDC just sitting there. Yeah, you know what? I think here's what we're going to do. Nobody's going to travel anywhere. You're not going to go to Grandma's house. You won on November 3rd, Vice President Pence. We won. You get an extra bonus. This is bonus time. We're in bonus time for the second administration, for the second term.